The West Virginia Mountaineers have officially received yet another verbal commitment as they continue to try and build the 2024 recruiting class. Let's go. What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Jordan Cruz back here with the Country Roads webcast. And before I get into this video, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder. If you would do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button, give us a like on this here video. It'll really help this video's performance, which in turn helps future videos performances here on the channel. And if you're a West Virginia fan or a college football fan in general for that matter, be sure hit that subscribe button. Helps us and it helps you, as it helps get more of this Mountaineer sports content out to Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, let's get into it. All right, as I mentioned in the cold open, West Virginia has received yet another commitment to continue to boost the 2024 football class that has had a tremendous last 7 or 8 days as verbal commit after verbal commit continues to roll in for the Mountaineers. The latest in that line being a 2024 athlete, Chris Henry. No, not that Chris Henry, and no relation, as we do know West Virginia is recruiting Chris Henry Jr., the son of the late, great West Virginia wide receiver, but he's a 2026 recruit. This Chris Henry is an athlete here in the 2024 class. Just for clarification, I know that has caused a bit of confusion among Mountaineer Nation, but just to clear that up, as you see here, detailed by Mike Ostie on Twitter, and I know our friend Coos has put this out as well. There are multiple Chris Henrys, of course. This one here in this class that West Virginia just received a commitment from, and there still is a Chris Henry Jr. that is the son of the late, great West Virginia wide receiver, as I mentioned, but 3-star athlete that joins the program, likely to be another defensive back addition for the Mountaineers, as you see, also detailed by Mike Ostie here on this article on WVSportsNow.com, where you'll find great articles detailing a lot of these West Virginia football commits as they've continued to roll in day after day now. But Chris Henry is a 6 foot, 185-pound athlete out of Florida there at Dunellen High School in Dunellen, Florida. As you see, his tweet there in which he shared a little video announcing his commitment to the Mountaineers. And if you want to follow him on Twitter, Mountaineer Nation, you can there. His Twitter handle is at ChrisHenry0, and he is listed as an athlete recruit, plays wide receiver and defensive back in high school, but is believed to probably be a defensive back at West Virginia. I'm thinking probably a deep safety there, free safety or cat. We'll see how it pans out though, but all in all, it's nice to see West Virginia pick up another defensive back commit. We know that West Virginia continues to try and build this secondary. It's something that we need to see improve. So it's nice to see a few defensive back commits over the past couple of days for West Virginia, with the latest one here being Chris Henry, who I think will help in the future of the West Virginia football secondary, becoming the 11th commit to add to this 2024 football recruiting class. And having said that, let's take a look at that class now as we continue to track it here on the Country Roads webcast with our 2024 verbal commitment list. All right, and as you can see here, detailed on our 2024 verbal commitment list here on the Country Roads webcast, which if you've been following along with throughout the offseason, we've put out videos on each one of these commits individually as they've came in. If you want to go back and check those out, just go over to the Country Roads webcast YouTube channel, head over to the playlist tab and look for the CRW recruiting playlist there, where you'll find videos on each one of these commits as they came in if you want further detail. But for now, you'll see the highlighted subject of this video, athlete Chris Henry, 6 foot, 185-pound, 3-star athlete from the state of Florida, the 11th commit to add to this list here, and the most recent addition for the Mountaineers, actually becoming the first 2024 verbal commit from the state of Florida, as West Virginia has gone south for their most 2 recent verbal commitments, as those have come from Georgia and Florida respectively. But just to run down through the list of names of the West Virginia commits here: Richard Wink James, a defensive lineman from New Jersey; Keyshawn Robinson, a wide receiver from West Virginia; Jack Samarco, a tight end from Ohio; Obina Onwuka, a defensive lineman from Maryland; Kyle Altuner, an offensive lineman from Maryland; defensive lineman Elijah Kinsler from New Jersey; a defensive back in KJ Flo from North Carolina; Brandon Raymond, a wide receiver from Pennsylvania, Zay Jennings, an athlete from Ohio, and then, of course, the two commits from the South I mentioned from Georgia and Florida. The Georgia one being a defensive back in Israel Boyce, and then, of course, the subject of this video, Chris Henry, an athlete from Florida, which make up the current 11 names on the verbal commitment list for the Mountaineers at the time of this recording. Hopefully this list continues to grow, as West Virginia has done a phenomenal job over the past week continuing to grow this 2024 West Virginia football recruiting class, of course, with the most recent addition now of Chris Henry, the 3-star athlete. So there you have it, Mountaineer Nation. Add yet another name to the 2024 football recruiting class, and that name is Chris Henry, which should be a familiar one to Mountaineer fans. No relation. Still, fingers crossed, West Virginia is able to land Chris Henry Jr. in the future, but I think this Chris Henry will play a great part in the West Virginia secondary down the line. But what are your thoughts on the addition of Chris Henry to this 2024 West Virginia football recruiting class and the hot streak that this class has been on in general over the past week? Be sure to let us know your thoughts on the addition of Chris Henry or the class in general down in the comments below. We really appreciate those interactions as we continue to try and grow the Country Roads webcast community throughout Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.